Kyiv is under Russian attack. Twice this morning, air raid sirens sounded in the capital. Drones were spotted and shot down over the city as they circled different districts. The work of the air defense was clearly audible. Currently, the air raid alert remains in effect in Chernihiv, Sumy, and Kharkiv regions. It is also spreading across the eastern and southern regions. The Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reports several groups of drones, including those coming from the Black Sea, as well as the threat of missile strikes in the frontline regions and in the city of Zaporizhzhia. The enemy launched 3 ballistic missiles and 113 drones last night. The launches were carried out both from Russian territory and from temporarily occupied Ukrainian regions. 1 missile was shot down, and air defense forces also neutralized 89 UAVs. At the same time, there were confirmed strikes from 2 missiles and 24 drones at 13 locations, as well as debris falling in 3 places. The Air Force Command warns that some drones are still in the air, so they urge everyone to pay close attention to air raid alerts. Missiles targeted the Dnipro district, while drones struck the Pavlograd district and Kryvyi Rih. A series of explosions occurred overnight in the Dnipropetrovsk region, damaging businesses. In Kryvyi Rih, 45,000 households lost power overnight, more than 700 buildings were left without heat, and the high-speed tram service was halted, but it has now been restored. And also in the Nikopol district as well. In the Dnipropetrovsk region, the enemy wounded a 13-year-old boy and a woman. There are 8 injured in the Kharkiv region, including 2 children. In the village of Voloskia Balaklia, an 11-year-old boy was wounded, and in the Slobitsky district of Kharkiv, a 16-year-old child was injured. A sports facility was damaged there. In Zaraneka, 5 people were injured at once. The Russians destroyed a recreation facility and private houses. In the village of Zhukiv Yar, an elderly man and woman were affected. The occupiers are also attacking the Chernihiv region. Drones damaged residential buildings in the Nizhyn district. A guided aerial bomb on fiber optics attacked electrical equipment in Semenivka. As a result, some consumers are left without electricity. And then, using a Jaren drone, the occupiers struck the Novobeluska community, damaging a lyceum, the local administration, a kindergarten, an outpatient clinic, and even the House of Culture. 1 person was killed and 8 others injured in Donetsk region. The occupiers killed a person in Kramatorsk, striking the private sector. 6 houses were damaged. 3 people were injured in the Mykolaiv community, 2 in Druzhkivka, and the same number in Malotaranivka. Over 30 settlements in Kherson region were attacked by the Russians over the past day. There, a person was injured the day before when a strike drone hit an apartment building in the central district of the regional center of Donetsk. As a result of the direct hit, apartments were destroyed, windows and doors were shattered, and this has been happening for many months. Every day, the enemy attacks Kherson with explosives dropped from drones, targeting pedestrians and civilian vehicles. The most dangerous areas right now are the city's riverside districts, which are closer to Russian positions. There is a lot of destruction there, and most residents have evacuated from those areas. Because of the extensive damage to the infrastructure, there is no electricity, no water, and no heat there.
It's a tactic. Let's put it this way, it's unpredictable because civilian targets, residential buildings, and just ordinary people, those walking down the street, going out for bread, riding a bicycle, or driving a car, are being attacked for absolutely no reason. Most of the city currently has electricity and water, but if we talk about the coastal areas, such as, for example, the micro-district, the Karabel district, Antonivka, Sadova, of course, there is no electricity, no gas, no heating, and there definitely won't be any this winter.
141 combat engagements have been recorded on the front line. According to the Ukrainian General Staff, over the past day, the enemy has been attacking more actively in the Pokrovsk direction, suffering significant losses there. According to preliminary estimates, on this section alone, our soldiers eliminated 38 occupiers, destroyed 17 vehicles and 72 unmanned aerial vehicles, 2 artillery systems, and 8 communication antennas, and a ground drone. In addition, 2 UAV control points and 17 enemy personnel shelters were hit. The enemy in particular suffers significant losses during attempts to establish logistics on the road. Shevchenko-Pokrovskaya. In this video, which you are now watching, over the past few months, our artillery and unmanned systems units from the 7th Airborne Assault Corps have been purposefully working against the enemy during movements along this logistics corridor. Fierce fighting is also ongoing in the Huliaipol direction, where Ukrainian soldiers repelled 25 attacks yesterday, in the area of Huliaipol itself, as well as towards Dubropilya and Varvarivka, 13 times. The Russians stormed the positions of Ukrainian defenders 13 times in the Kostiantinivka sector, 9 times in the Lyman sector, 8 times in the Oleksandrivka sector, and 4 times in the Kupiansk sector. And once the occupiers tried to break through in the Pridniprovsk sector, but failed near the Antonivsky bridge. That's how it is. The situation, is being commented on by the Ukrainian General Staff. At
the front, the number of combat engagements continues to decrease, 141 over the past day. But the number of destroyed liberators has either remained the same or slightly increased, 990. The Pokrovsk direction once again leads in the number of attacks, 39. In the Hulyai sector, 26. In the Kostiantynivka sector, 13. In the Oleksandrivka sector, 8. There is a lull in the Orikhiv direction. The defense forces struck 2 command posts and 8 areas where enemy personnel and equipment were concentrated. They destroyed 6 tanks, 3 armored fighting vehicles, 74 artillery systems, and 3 multiple launch rocket systems. They also took out 5 air defense systems, 8 missiles, and 232 units of the occupiers' automotive equipment. Join the defense forces. Together, it's easier to overcome the enemy. Glory to Ukraine.
Despite extreme danger and the threat of FPV drones, they go out and work in open terrain. The GRAD crews of the 152nd Ranger Brigade are holding back the enemy in the Pokrovsk direction. Even in the era of drones, the old multiple rocket launcher system still delivers tangible results, destroying Russian positions and equipment deep behind enemy lines. TSN correspondent Daria Nazarova went out with the soldiers on a mission and is ready to share this footage right now.
It's the dead of night. We're driving through the dark villages of Donbas. Ahead, the sky is lit up by enemy shelling, leading us to the artillerymen. It's about a 2-hour drive. It's dangerous to travel here at night. And honestly, it's really scary. Along the way, the soldiers talk about the specifics
of their diligent and thorough work.
We're going to target the areas where the occupiers are moving. We work out in the open fields, not from covered firing positions like self-propelled guns or mortars, but right from the field. As soon as they spot us, and they will spot us. When we fire, especially at night, it's going to look like Star Wars. We'll have to run fast, because everything will come flying back at us.
Already in position, the GRAD combat vehicle is loaded with rockets, shrouded in complete darkness. The final preparations for firing are underway. The work of the GRAD MLRS is always powerful and impressive, says the crew commander. Rolex. However, the salvos give away the position very clearly. The position.
During the nighttime hours, the potential risk becomes significantly higher, especially during the dark hours. Basically, whether it's day, night, or twilight, the risk is the same. The optimal time is at dusk.
Compared to 2022, bringing the vehicle out into open terrain is even more dangerous now because of the abundance of enemy drones.
The situation is completely different now. Now, absolutely, everything has become significantly tougher. The kill zone has widened and expanded to a distance of almost 10 kilometers.
Despite the considerable size of the vehicle itself, every trip out feels to the GRAD driver like a serious rally race.
The most important thing is to get out quickly, fire quickly, and leave quickly. Of course, before you leave it, you have to give it a pat. You drive precisely, you enjoy it.
What about me in the rear? I don't see them. Let's go. They're flying, of course they are. The place where they gather, or as the soldiers themselves call it, the garage. Here the GRAD is hidden from enemy eyes, and from here the vehicle sets out each time to destroy the occupiers. Sometimes it takes up to half an hour to load the launcher. But a GRAD salvo is 40 rockets that are launched almost instantly. The barrage lasts only 20 seconds.
There has to be precision, there has to be a clear algorithm of actions. Without a well-defined algorithm of actions, it is impossible to do the job correctly, because every small detail depends entirely on this precision.
The GRAD covers an entire area, so the targets detected by our aerial reconnaissance stand no chance. Despite the popularity of drones, the GRAD will never go out of military fashion, the artillerymen joke.
A drone, yes, can hit a single target. It can strike, but when it comes to a cluster, a mechanized column on the move, that's only for artillery. It's the artillery that can really take care of them. Right now, there are so many jamming elements that a drone might simply not make it to the target. But a shell will always reach its target if you aim it directly. It will always hit where it's supposed to.
100 eliminated occupiers, dozens of pieces of equipment, and this old machine. This Soviet-era machine is still showing impressive results. But the young crew commander insists he wants to keep moving forward and master new systems.
We could use something new, like a HIMARS.
Rolex has been at war for a year and a half. A mobilized analyst from Vinnytsia, now a combat vehicle commander.
Everyone here must defend the country, because if we don't, there will be no jobs, no homes, nothing at all. Because we see what's happening here. For example, our enemies advance and leave nothing behind them. Thinking that someone else will fight for me while I just sit it out in the rear, well, that's not really right either.
For good luck, the man always carries this little Yoda with him. He bought it on the very first day he joined the army. He says he associates himself with this character. This
Little Yoda. He was always exceptionally intelligent, always maintained his own unique perspectives, and always tried his hardest to remain remarkably optimistic. This was truly the absolute best possible outcome one could imagine.
Think positively, work hard, and always do your best. That's the foundation of his life philosophy, says the artilleryman. This helps him get through the toughest times at war. Daria Nazarova, Ivan Koroshko, Donetsk region, 1+1 Marathon, United News.
Drone attack in Russia's Rostov. There's a fire there. After the drone strike, tanks with petroleum products are burning on the territory of the Empil's paint and varnish factory, and at the same time, several residential buildings have also been damaged. The Rostov authorities blame everything on the debris. However, videos circulating on social media show that the destruction may have been caused by Russian air defense systems, since at least one of these missiles fell on a residential area. Not as intended. Yesterday, the Verkhovna Rada dismissed Denis Shmyhal from the post of Minister of Defense and Mikhailo Fedorov, and also removed Vasyl Malyuk from the position of head of the Security Service of Ukraine, as well as from the post of Minister of Digital Transformation and First Deputy Prime Minister. On Tuesday, the MPs tried to appoint Shmyhal as Minister of Energy and First Deputy Prime Minister, but there were not enough votes for this, so the personnel decisions were postponed to today. And as for whether there will be a vote, and if so, how it will proceed, we will be watching closely. TSN correspondent Ihor Bondarenko is with us live right now from the parliament. Ihor, so are the deputies ready to vote on the appointments? Those who weren't appointed yesterday.
Hello, the special session has just started in Parliament. The start, after 5 months, was delayed by an hour. Firstly, this was due to an air raid alert, and secondly, most likely, they were looking for votes for these personnel decisions. And right now, Yulia Tymoshenko is speaking from the parliamentary podium. She became the main newsmaker of the morning and pushed these personnel decisions aside to the background. The media have already reported that NABU has announced a suspicion for allegedly offering a bribe for certain decisions to the parliament. The leader of Batkivshchyna has already responded to this on social media, and right now she is reacting live on TV. From the parliamentary podium, if we sum up the speech, which lasts about 7 minutes, the message is that all of this is slander, lies, conspiracy, and an order from political opponents. As for personnel decisions, the first item on today's agenda is the appointment of Mikhailo Fedorov as Minister of Defense. The second item on the agenda is the extension of martial law and general mobilization. The third item, again, personnel decisions. On the second attempt, they will try to appoint Shmyhal as First Deputy Prime Minister and simultaneously as Minister of Energy. And one more appointment is Dmytro Nataluka. He currently heads the Parliamentary Committee on Economic Development, and he is being proposed for the position of head of the State Property Fund. That's the situation, the agenda. And after all these statements and personnel decisions, the Parliament is expected to return to its usual work on current draft laws. Studio.
Thank you for keeping track of everything. We'll be waiting for more details. Correspondents of Sana, Ihor Bondarenko from the parliament, where ministers were dismissed yesterday and today, at least plan to reappoint some, and now more details about the searches at the Batkivshchyna office. It is likely that an indictment for Yulia Tymoshenko is coming from the anti-corruption authorities. Right now, in fact, our TSN correspondent Alexander Romaniuk is near the office where investigative actions took place this morning, and we'll find out from him what's happening there now. Alexander, a word to you. Are the searches still ongoing? Which ones are already there? Reaction of different forces? So you have a word, tell me.
Greetings, Saints. It's actually difficult to understand what's happening at the moment because information about the searches didn't even appear today. In the morning, it appeared yesterday evening. At that time, NABU and ESAPI reported that they had uncovered a corruption scheme involving one of the leaders of a political party who allegedly offered deputies money to vote a certain way on specific bills in the Verkhovna Rada. Very quickly, information spread that it was supposedly representatives of Batkivshchyna, specifically Yulia Tymoshenko, but there was no official confirmation of this. That's why, early in the morning, my colleague came here to this office and basically tried to find out whether investigative actions were really taking place here, since our phone inquiries were not being answered. Neither NABU nor SAP specified exactly who was involved, and in fact the Batkivshchyna party itself also did not comment on this matter. Here's how the conversation went. Let's listen to the direct speech at the entrance.
Good morning. Tell me, are the searches still ongoing here? Of course, later on.
And later, Yulia Tymoshenko herself confirmed that indeed the searches here in this office had apparently already ended. They really did last for a very long period of time. She called them unfounded, unlawful, and claimed that she called it a kind of PR stunt by the anti-corruption agencies. She stated that her work phones, parliamentary documents, as well as her personal savings, which according to Tymoshenko she had declared, were seized. For a long time, I want to note, NABU and SAP did not comment on this matter. They said they would comment as soon as these urgent investigative actions were completed. And indeed, literally just a few minutes later. Before the broadcast, a recording appeared online from NABU and SAP, which allegedly contains a conversation of a person whose voice resembles that of Yulia Tymoshenko, supposedly with representatives of certain political forces about voting. These recordings can already be heard on the internet, and there are different versions. In some, it's allegedly about getting people to vote. In others, they are either being offered not to vote at all or to vote against, supposedly so that there wouldn't be enough votes. And NABU and SAP have also published a video where a person resembling Yulia Tymoshenko appears, but it is impossible to confirm this for certain. We emphasize this because the face is blurred. Investigative actions are being carried out at the office, and it is likely that a notice of suspicion is being served. But again, there has been no clear official information or official comment from NABU and SAP specifically for journalists at this time. We are also waiting for full video comments from Batkivshchyna and from Yulia Tymoshenko. And in the next editions of TSN, you will definitely be able to see this. And we have information that at the moment we have a soundbite. We can play it now, please. Direct speech.
Is this okay? And for us, within our culture, one single month is traditionally considered to be a decisia. That is to say, for all of us, pay for the decisia and pay extra for the decisia when adding on. If today we have such a reaction from you, then we are currently in the process of recording exactly who is accompanying you throughout the city streets. Furthermore, I will provide you with all the necessary information, and in return, you will provide me with the specific details I require.
Water. You have preliminarily decided to set the specific denomination at exactly $100 in US dollars. This is actually the request I was talking about, supposedly negotiated, and in fact the very moment of serving the suspicion. What do I want to say? Earlier, Yulia Tymoshenko stated that she considers all of this fabricated, and they will challenge all the accusations from the anti-corruption agencies in court, saying that for her, this is not the first time she has faced unfounded charges, and she has been a figure in separate criminal cases before, so we will continue to monitor the situation. We will definitely report on this in the next TCH broadcasts. Studio?
Thank you for the details. TSN correspondent Alexander Romaniuk on the searches of Yulia Tymoshenko, who, as a reminder, earlier confirmed that anti-corruption authorities did indeed conduct investigative actions in her office, confirmed the seizure of phones, documents, and even funds, but called it political pressure. Well, as we just saw, NABU and SAP have published their materials, which, according to anti-corruption authorities, pertain specifically to this case. The Abbot of the Holosiivska Pustyn monastery of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church of the Moscow Patriarchate has left Ukraine following an investigation into an underground pro-Russian school. This was reported by Slidstvo Info. According to journalists, Archbishop Isaki Boshfeder Andronik left the country on January 7th, the day after the publication of the high-profile investigation. And for almost a week now, the abbot of the church has been in Moldova. Let us recall that on January 6th, Slidstvo Info reported that at the Holosiivska Pustyn monastery, an underground school operates in Kyiv, where children are taught using Soviet textbooks, shown Russian films, and taught Russian songs. Despite the fact that the head of the institution, Anna Bolhova, called it a family club, it operates as a regular school.